Good morning, everyone. So today we'll be doing the daily newspaper analysis for the 3rd of the February, my bad. And we'll start with the first article, which is a cover article for us about the Adani crash, which has been happening for quite a while because of the Hindenburg report. Now, when we look at the article, it's basically mentions how the Adani crash resulted in stopping of the parliamentary proceedings yesterday because the opposition was seeking a joint parliamentary committee probe into the investment which has been done by especially two companies of the government, which is LIC and the SBI. It is very pertinent to note that LIC especially has invested more than 36,000 crore in the Adani group, and SBI also has invested a bulk of an amount in the Adani group. Now, all of this is coming in the backdrop of the Hindenburg report, which was released a while back, and you have already been studying about the same, reading about the same consistently through the past few days newspaper, that what exactly was this report about. So for people who are not aware, this report basically mentioned how the Adani group's companies, all the companies of the Adani group, so we have Adani Wilmar, we have Adani Enterprises, we have Adani Transmission, Adani Green Energy, okay? The prices of these stocks are very heavily inflated, and second, that they as a group, a company, are using the tax havens, places which are very tax friendly. Countries like Cayman Islands, country like Jamaica, countries like Singapore, these are known as tax havens because they are very, very good, very optimal for companies who want to avoid taxes. They establish their companies headquarters or working offices in these companies, and through that they avoid a lot of taxes. So the report also accuses the Adani group of taking advantage of the same. Okay. And the third thing, they have also mentioned this fact that the entire Adani group is controlled by a very few people. So the power is very concentrated. There are few decision makers, which makes the corporate governance of the Adani group very, very shady. Because of these things, obviously the Adani group has come ahead and denied these allegations and has even threatened to sue the Hindenburg report. But as a consequence of the same, the prices of the Adani group shares have been falling dramatically. Now, coming back to the article, now because LIC and SBI have committed a lot of money with the Adani group, the opposition is now protesting about the same, that why have you taken this decision to invest so heavily in this group. And they have been demanding a setting up of a joint parliamentary committee or a Supreme Court monitored panel to investigate the same. Now, let's talk about the Hindenburg first for a minute. Now, Hindenburg is basically, it's a research company which is established in New York, US. It's a fairly new company. It was founded in 2017 by a person called Nathan Anderson, and the work of this Hindenburg research is to basically research on the aspects of financial stability and financial condition of a company. So basically, it will examine the liabilities and debts of a company, how the company is being managed, what are the annual statements of the companies, what are the accounts of the companies look like. Okay, and they will basically do a, you can say with you can say basically they do an operation of the company to find out what is wrong with the company, whether a company is a trustworthy investment or not. क्या आपको इस कंपनी में इन्वेस्ट करना चाहिए, ठीक है. To find these things out, they do a through and through screening of the entire company, and after doing that they also invest or short their position. Now, what is shorting is basically nothing but you are betting against the company, that this company is not doing good, okay, or you invest in the company. Okay, so Hindenburg Research also does investing or shorting of stocks of a particular company if they find out that the company is doing very well and is basically in a very good hands, or if it's doing very bad or it's involved in some kind of corporate fraud or some stock manipulation. Okay, so Hindenburg Research actually shorted the shares of Adani Group. Okay, so a lot of people are accusing Hindenburg Research to actually manipulate the shares of the Adani Group just to make profits. Okay, now we won't find that out until unless some kind of investigation is done actually by any of the investigating agency. And by the way, SEBI has started some sort of investigation with regards to certain shares of the Adani Group. Now, what is joint parliamentary committee? Now, joint parliamentary committee का जो provision है ना, it's basically a committee which is formed for two purposes. The first purpose is generally for examination of a bill which has been presented before the parliament. Whether the bill is accurate or optimal or is not suffering from some kind of error. Okay, so the joint parliamentary committee is established. It examines that bill, it gives a report which is presented to the parliament, and the parliament will consider that report if they want to amend the bill or represent it. Okay, that's the first purpose. The second purpose for which the joint parliamentary committee is generally set up is for investigation of such cases where the government activities is under the scanner. So here, what is the government activity which can be under scanner? That LIC and SBI, which are government owned companies. Government has a control in these companies. Why they have investigated so huge of an amount in the Adani Group? Because of that, the opposition is demanding a setting up of a joint parliamentary committee. And by the way, a joint parliamentary committee is only a temporary body which is established for addressing a specific issue. After the issue is settled, they will present a report and it will get dissolved. Now, for setting up of a JPC, what happens? First, wherever the JPC is being proposed. So, for example, let's say the Lok Sabha is demanding for a JPC. Okay, there will be a motion which will be passed in the Lok Sabha. If the motion is passed in the Lok Sabha, the Rajya Sabha should support it. If the Rajya Sabha also supports it, then the joint parliamentary committee will be established. Okay, and the members, who will be the members of the joint parliamentary committee, it will be decided by the parliament itself. So that's a joint parliamentary committee, and that's what the opposition is demanding for this particular investment which has been done by LIC and SBI. Okay, so this is the crux of the article. Whenever folks, whenever you are reading newspaper, please look at these terms. You can see how I have tried to highlight certain terms. जैसे मैंने हिंडनबर्ग रिपोर्ट को हाईलाइट कर रखा है because it's something new जिसके बारे में आपको पता नहीं है. So you have to read about these things. So I have also highlighted the JPC. Okay, JPC is a very important thing from your examination point of view. इसको पढ़ लेना. So whenever you read newspapers, try to find out these terms. Whenever you encounter such terms which you are not aware of, Google these terms. ठीक है, because it will give you in-depth knowledge और आपको फिर इंटरेस्ट भी जगेगा, इस टॉपिक को आप फॉलो करोगे. सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल लेट्स से दैट द गवर्नमेंट सेज नो वी आर नॉट सेटिंग अप अ JPC, और एक्चुअली सेज कि ठीक है विल सेट अप अ JPC. उसके बाद एक JPC आ जाएगी, तो ये सारे न्यूज़ क्या होंगे, रिपोर्ट होंगे, आप उनको फॉलो करोगे बिकॉज यू हैव ऑलरेडी रेड अबाउट व्हाट अ JPC इज, राइट. On the other hand, just next to this article, you can see here that they have also reported how the Adani stocks have been doing. And the headline is firm stocks continue to plunge after FPO removal. Now, it's a very important news that the Adani Enterprises was coming with a FPO, which stands for follow on public offer. The value of this follow on public offer was 20,000 crores. Now, what is a follow on public offer? देखो, follow on public offer is nothing but you are offering your company's shares to either existing shareholders, ठीक है, जो ऑलरेडी जिनके पास अडानी के स्टॉक्स हैं उनको आप और स्टॉक्स ऑफर कर रहे हो, या फिर यू आर ऑफरिंग स्टॉक्स टू न्यू शेयर होल्डर्स, प्रोस्पेक्टिव शेयर होल्डर्स. Okay, and you are not doing it for the first time. That is why it's known as follow on public offer. जनरली जब कि कोई कंपनी अपने स्टॉक्स या शेयर्स को पब्लिक को पहली बार ऑफर करती है, दे डू इट इन फॉर्म ऑफ इनिशियल पब्लिक ऑफरिंग और IPOs. But if they are doing it for second or maybe nth number of time, not the first time, then they go on with FPO, follow on public offer. So the Adani Enterprises had recalled its FPO. काफ़ी लोगों ने सब्सक्राइब कर रखा था ऑलरेडी, अप्लाई कर रखा था इसके लिए. ओके, इट वॉज एक्चुअली फुल्ली सब्सक्राइब्ड. ओके, काफ़ी मतलब जितने भी अलॉटेड शेयर्स थे वो सारे खरीद लिए गए थे, बुक कर लिए गए थे. बट द अडानी एंटरप्राइजेस सेड नो, वी आर नॉट गोइंग अहेड विद दिस. ओके, पोटेंशियली रीज़न क्या हो सकता है? बिकॉज द शेयर प्राइजेस आर गेटिंग डाउन एवरी डे. सो व्हाट विल हैपन? दैट विल रिजल्ट इन मोर लॉस. 20,000 करोड़ का आपने लोन लिया और उसकी वैल्यू तुरंत ही गिर गई क्योंकि शेयर की प्राइसेस आपकी नीचे जा रही हैं दिन पे दिन बिकॉज ऑफ दिस रिपोर्ट. So that can be a potential reason. Okay. So because of this, they have recalled it. They have said that we are not going ahead with its FPO. So this is the first article of the day, which is very important from your examination point of view. Now let's move on to the another article which you will find in the Hindu newspaper, which is about the landfill of Delhi. Now, this article is talking about 3 landfills, which you will find on the last paragraph of this article. First is Ghazipur, second is Bhalswa, and third is Okhla. There are 3 landfills in Delhi. जिसके against, okay, what happened now? NGT actually imposed a environmental compensation of 900 crore on Delhi because they have not recycled the waste on these 3 landfills. Okay, this was done almost more than 3 months ago. After this was done, now the Delhi government is trying to file a review petition. Now, what is a review petition? A review petition is nothing but you are asking the court to review its decision. Okay, but before that we should know about what actually NGT is. So when we talk about NGT is a individual tribunal. What is a tribunal? It's a judicial body. Now NGT was established for environmental purposes in 2010. It's a statutory body which was established in 2010 by the NGT Act of 2010. Okay, and the composition of NGT is basically there's a chairperson who is a Supreme Court judge, who is a retired Supreme Court judge. Okay, ideally he should be based in Delhi because the headquarters, the principal bench, the main bench of the NGT is in Delhi. Okay, इसके अलावा there are 4 other benches which are established in Bhopal, Pune, Kolkata and Chennai. Okay, so there are total 5 benches. The principal bench being in Delhi, we try to prefer that the chairperson is also a judge based in Delhi. Okay, apart from that, there are other judicial members which are also appointed, which should be retired high court judges. Okay, apart from the judges, we also have expert members who are having a professional certification that they are experts of the field. Now, what field we are talking about? We are talking about environment or forest conservation or related environment related fields. जिस पे भी NGT को रूलिंग करनी है. सो वाटर कंजर्वेशन कैन बी वन ऑफ देम, एयर कंजर्वेशन हो सकता है. ठीक है, इन फील्ड्स में जो भी एक्सपर्ट्स होंगे, ओके, they will have a professional certification that I'm an expert in this field. And apart from that, they also need at least a 15-year experience in these fields to become an expert member. So this is the composition, that there is a chairperson, there are retired judicial members, and there are also expert members. Okay, Now there's a minimum requirement. There should be at least 10 of these. Okay, एक चेयरपर्सन होगा, इसके अलावा जुडिशियल मेंबर्स और एक्सपर्ट मेंबर्स को मिलाकर आपके पास एटलीस्ट 10 होने चाहिए एनजीटी में मेंबर्स. बट द मैक्सिमम लिमिट इज ऑफ 20. यू कैन नॉट हैव मोर देन 20 जुडिशियल और and expert members. Okay, now what is the term of these members? The term of these members is of a fixed 5-year term, which is not eligible for reappointment. So a person who has been appointed as a member of NGT, he cannot be re-elected. Okay, so this is NGT. NGT का काम क्या है? NGT का काम है to deal with environment related cases. Okay, एंड अपील जो भी होती है इनकी, वो कहाँ जाती है? वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जाती है. सो वेन एवर देर इज अ रिव्यू पिटिशन, इट विल बी गोइंग टू द सुप्रीम कोर्ट. ओके, नाउ वी हैव ऑल्सो टॉक्ड अबाउट रिव्यू पिटिशन. सो सुप्रीम कोर्ट की रिव्यू पिटिशन की जब हम बात करते हैं, देन वी हैव द आर्टिकल 137 ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया, विच टॉक्स अबाउट द पावर ऑफ सुप्रीम कोर्ट टू रिव्यू इट्स ओन डिसीजंस. नाउ दिस power can be exercised by the Supreme Court according to its discretion. But if you are an aggrieved party, अगर कोई decision आई है and you are an aggrieved party, then you can ask the Supreme Court to review its decision. It shouldn't be necessary कि आप उस judgment के party हो. Okay, so for example, let's say the landfill decision, जो भी हम बात कर रहे हैं जिसकी, ठीक है. Now we are talking about the landfill mounds. Okay, now let's imagine that parties are Delhi government and let's say the central government. Central government ने Delhi government को बोला कि आपने इन landfills के जितने भी waste हैं उनको recycle नहीं किया, so you should pay compensation for the same. Now दो parties है, central government and Delhi government यहाँ पर. But let's say there are people who are living around the landfill, okay, who are also aggrieved because landfills में जो भी कचरा है वो रिसाइकल नहीं हो रहा. सो इट्स नॉट नेसेसरी दैट ओनली द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट विल सू देम और ओनली द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट विल आस्क फॉर अ रिव्यू पिटिशन इफ दे डोंट गेट द एडिक्वेट रिलीफ. Even the people who are affected by that landfill can apply for a review petition. Okay, so let's imagine if they feel कि 900 करोड़ का compensation कम है. Okay, the people can ask for a review petition कि नहीं इसको बढ़ाओ और हमें भी कुछ compensation दो, because we are the ones who are actually getting affected because of all this kachra. Okay, we are affected because of the bad odor, we are affected because of the unhygienic conditions and infestation of diseases like cholera, typhoid. We are getting affected. So 900 crore compensation, okay, is, let's say, okay, but give something to us also. So they can also file for a review petition, right? ठीक है. So ये review petition अभी फाइल किया गया है दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट के द्वारा. Okay, because of the failure of them to recycle, the NGT has imposed a fine of 900 crores. And because of this, the AAP government has said, no, we want to file a review petition. Okay. So this is the second article of the day, which is important from the point of view. इसमें से आपके लिए NGT बहुत important है. Okay. Because it has been asked. Okay. Now we'll move on to the third article, which is regarding the Aero India 2023, which will be held in Bengaluru. Now, I'm pretty sure last year आपने ये news follow की होगी that a defense expo or the DEF expo was conducted in Gandhinagar, okay, which was related to defense technologies or weapons, right? Similarly, on the same pedestal, basically, we also conduct a Aero India, okay. And this also happens every 2 years, just like the DEF Expo. The difference is that the Aero India, okay, only happens in Bengaluru at the Yelahanka Air Base. Every 2 years it happens at the Yelahanka Air Base, which is in Bengaluru. It's basically 30 kilometers away from the main city, but it always happens in the Yelahanka Air Base, okay. Now, this year, the focus of this entire Aero India 2023 will be the indigenous Tejas light combat aircraft. Okay. Now the article talks about that how the Aero India 2023 is being held at the Air Force Station at Yelahanka. It will happen from February 13 till February 17. Okay, this is the 14th edition of Aero India, and it will also have a separate India pavilion which will showcase the fixed wing platform theme. Now fixed wing platform theme को आगे इस आर्टिकल ने एक्सपैंड भी किया है, which includes the demonstration of various structural modules, simulators, systems of LCA Tejas aircraft. So we can very much see that इस साल का जो एरो इंडिया होगा, it will be entirely focused around the LCA Tejas. Okay. Now we come to the second last paragraph where they have given the specs of the LCA Tejas, and they have said that it's a single engine, it's a lightweight, heavily agile, we know, okay, and it's a multi-role supersonic fighter, okay. So these are the characteristics of LCA Tejas, but this is not sufficient for us. Now we need to know what LCA Tejas entirely is. So LCA Tejas is an indigenous aircraft. Okay, LCA का full form मैं आपको पहले भी बता चुका हूँ. It's the light combat aircraft. Okay, now who has designed it? It has been designed by DRDO. DRDO के अंदर we have an aeronautical development agency which is responsible for designing the LCA Tejas, and the same has been manufactured by HAL. Hindustan Aeronautics Limited is the manufacturer. The design was given by DRDO. Okay, a lot of people get confused. देखो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग जितने भी एयरक्राफ्ट की होगी ना, मोस्टली इट्स डन बाय HAL, बट अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल इफ आई आस्क देम हु हैज डिजाइंड तेजस, they will say HAL. But please remember that the designing has been done by DRDO, manufacturing is done by HAL. Okay. Now let's dive into the history of LCA Tejas. Now जो हमारा LCA program है ना, now what do I mean by LCA program? That our government wanted to build indigenous light combat aircrafts, okay, which are extremely mobile and they can carry a lot of weaponry, okay, and they are fast and lightweight, right? So in 1983 we actually launched our LCA program, okay, but we also took the help of a French company जिसका नाम आपने सुना होगा, द डसॉल्ट ब्रिगे. डसॉल्ट का नाम आप सबने सुना है. सो LCA प्रोग्राम के लिए हमने डसॉल्ट का भी कंसल्टेंसी लिया हुआ है. ओके, एंड आफ्टर दैट वी स्टार्टेड द कंस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ द प्रोटोटाइप ऑफ द LCA. हमने एक प्रोटोटाइप बनाया, एक मॉडल बनाया जिसके बेसिस पे हम उसको अपग्रेड करते रहेंगे ईयर बाय ईयर. Okay, now this prototype aircraft was built in 2003. This was completed in 2003. The code name was PV1. PV stands for prototype vehicle. Okay, and in 2003 it had its maiden flight, and after it had its successful maiden flight, it was officially renamed as Tejas by the then Prime Minister, the late Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Okay, so Atal Bihari Vajpayee was actually responsible for naming our country's LCA as Tejas. Okay, after that a lot of testing goes on. Whenever we are making an aircraft, we test it for various conditions, okay, various situations. Every part is tested. Okay, after that an operational clearance is given. Okay, so the initial operation clearance was given in January 2011. उसके बाद flight testing होगी. After the flight testings and everything is completed, every tweaks are made, everything has been adjusted, the final operation clearance was given in 2019. Okay, and the latest variant on which both the DRDO and HAL are working is the Mark 1A variant, which is the latest variant of Tejas. Okay, and the delivery of the Mark 1 variant will be done in March 2024. Okay, so this is all you need to know about the लाइट कॉम्बैट एयरक्राफ्ट तेजस. नाउ एरो इंडिया के बारे में आपको ऑलरेडी ब्रीफ में बता चुका हूँ दैट ऑन द सिमिलर ग्राउंड्स ऑफ व्हाट इज डिफेंस एक्सपो वी हैव एरो इंडिया फॉर एयरक्राफ्ट्स एंड एरोनॉटिकल टेक्नोलॉजीज. Okay, it's a biennial international military and civil air show, and it has always been hosted by the Yelahanka Air Base since it was started in 1996. So the Aero India has been going on since 1996 और तब से अभी तक it has been always hosted by the Yelahanka Air Base in Bengaluru. Okay, so this is your another important article which you should read. Okay, now the next article which we have to cover is about the sites database, and mainly focusing on red sander. Now what is red sanders? Red sanders is basically nothing but लाल चंदन, जिसको हम रक्त चंदन भी बोलते हैं. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have watched the movie Pushpa. I'm pretty sure. So that movie was based around the smuggling of red sanders only. Now, some things about the red sanders you need to know. That red sanders, okay, it's an endangered species of flora. It's an endangered plant species. Okay, और ये IUCN रेड लिस्ट में भी है. Okay. Another thing, it's an endemic species. Endemic का मतलब क्या होता है? That it is restricted to a geographical location. It's not found everywhere in the world. So the red sanders is only found on the Eastern Ghats, and that too in specific areas of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. Some areas of Telangana, but majorly Andhra Pradesh. Okay, and it's very expensive, very expensive, and is also nicknamed as red gold because a kilo, although आप domestically इसको 500-600 per kg के हिसाब से खरीद सकते हो, but when they are exported, after being exported, they can fetch the price of 3,000 to 10,000 rupees depending on the quality, and that's per kg. So just imagine how expensive is this wood. And interestingly enough, okay, you will also find this in the articles. If you look at the third row, I have also highlighted this fact that China is the largest importer of this particular wood. China, Hong Kong, Singapore, Japan, okay, they import a lot of red sanders from us, and they use it for furniture, they use it for musical instrument, they also use it for medicinal properties because it's a antidepressant also. Okay, because of its smell especially. Okay, so what the sites database has revealed and what has been pointed in the newspaper, that according to the traffic is a global wildlife trade monitoring organization. Okay, we will also discuss about traffic in a while. So traffic ने ये reveal किया है, okay, in basically collaboration with sites, that a lot of red sanders is being smuggled out of the country. Okay, a lot of red sanders is being smuggled out of the country, and this is the mandate of the sites also. So what does SITE stands for? SITE stands for Conservation of International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Flora and Fauna. Okay, now CITES is a convention. India has also signed it. Okay, now CITES का point क्या है? CITES was signed because we don't want to import or export species of flora and fauna which are heavily endangered or are critically endangered or are vulnerable without proper regulations. So basically sites aim at prohibiting illegal trade of wild species of flora and fauna which are at risk. Okay, and that is why they are the ones who have come out with a report that red sanders, which is an endangered species under the IUCN red list, have been smuggled a lot out of the country. Okay, most of the consignments being smuggled have been sent to China. More than half of the consignment which has been smuggled has been sent out to China, and the traffic as well as sites have pointed out that we need to do better when it comes to controlling the export of red sanders, and we have to stop the smuggling of red sanders. Okay, now a lot of important things we have learned from this article. So first we'll be talking about traffic as well as sites. Okay, now there are two organizations which are very important from an examination point of view also. Now, as I have already told you, that traffic is a international program which keeps data with regards to international import and export of species, right? Now, traffic is a joint program of two organizations. First is the World Wildlife Fund, WWF, and the IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature. Okay, but not just that, but it also coordinates with sites because they are basically working for the same thing. Okay, now traffic was established in 1976 and its headquarters is in Cambridge, United Kingdom. Okay, now the second organization which we have seen in the newspaper is the site. I have already told you about CITES, that it's a multilateral treaty to protect species of plants and animals which are at risks due to illegal international trade. Now, CITES also came around the same time period when traffic was also established. It came into force in 1975, although CITES was proposed much earlier, 1965 में, ठीक है. In 1965 only, there was a provision, there was already discussion that we should set up a treaty, a convention which will deal with illegal import and export of protected species. Okay, so it came into force in 1975, and जो CITES का secretariat है, secretariat is basically, what is secretariat? Secretariat is a group of people who is working for a particular organization. Okay, just like the UN secretariat. Okay, so the CITES ka secretariat is basically administered by UNEP, the United Nations Environment Program, and the secretariat of CITES is situated at Geneva, Switzerland. Okay, now CITES also conducts its COPs. I'm pretty sure आपने UNFCCC की COP पे काफ़ी ध्यान दिया होगा, which happened last year at Sharm el Sheikh, है ना? The 27th COP. Similarly, CITES also meets and they also have their COPs. Okay, it generally happens every 2 years, and actually India has hosted a CITES COP. It was actually the third CITES COP, and it was hosted by India in Delhi in 1981. And this is very important from our point of view because India is the country which has given CITES its logo. If you look at the logo of CITES, it's spelled as CITES but in a shape of an elephant. And this CITES logo was given to the CITES by India during this COP third. Okay, the latest COP which happened last year was hosted by Panama in the Panama City, which was the 19th COP of the CITES. Okay, so this is the article which discusses about the illegal export of or illegal smuggling of red sander, also known as Rakt Chandan. Okay, the last article which we will be discussing is about a Supreme Court verdict which has been reported that the Supreme Court has basically said that they won't strike down a provision which allows the candidates of an election to contest from two different constituencies simultaneously. I'm pretty sure आप सभी को ये पता होगा that a lot of famous personalities, like जितने भी आप पॉलिटिशियंस की बात कर लो, हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर हो गए और मिस्टर राहुल गांधी, ओके, a lot of people have fought elections from two different seats, okay, in a single assembly election or a single Lok Sabha election, okay. Now this has been allowed by our representation of people's act. The representation of people's act की जब हम बात करते हैं, you should be very very aware that we have two such acts. We have a representation of people act 1950 and we have a representation of people's act 1951. दोनों एक्ट में डिफरेंस क्या है? दोनों के एम्बिट अलग है. One act deals about the qualifications of people who can fight the election, who cannot fight the election, but the other talks about the entire process of the election, okay. So we have two acts, okay. So the representation of people's act under section 33 subsection 7 actually allows politicians or representatives to fight elections from two constituencies simultaneously, okay. Now this was challenged in front of Supreme Court because they said that it is a issue and we should not allow this, okay. But however, the Supreme Court says we cannot take a call on this because this is something which is a policy decision, okay. Now you should know that whenever we talk about public policy क्या होती है? It's basically nothing but what is the ultimate plan of the government. How is the government going to address different issues of the countries, okay. There can be various ways about addressing a particular issue, okay. आप let's say hunger मिटाने के लिए you can distribute free अनाज. You can also try to promote employment. There can be multiple ways to go about a particular issue, okay. Now how the present government is dealing with that issue is basically a part of the government's public policy. And whenever, very important for you to understand, whenever it is about a public policy, the judiciary cannot intervene in that public policy decision. Agar there is something which is in the ambit of the legislature, that it's the legislature's call and the legislature has taken the call or the executive has taken a call that we are going to do this, the judiciary cannot object to it. And that's what the Supreme Court has also pointed out, that it is a policy decision. We cannot intervene here. It's for the parliament to take a call whether they want to keep allowing this or they want to restrict this to a one candidate, one constituency system, okay. So you can also see on the extended article on the right hand side that the government has also told the Supreme Court that this cannot be done by the Supreme Court, but actually this will require a amendment. If we want to change this provision, we will have to amend section 33 subsection 7 of the Representation of People Act, but this is not illegal. And this is the decision of the Supreme Court, that people can contest election from two constituencies simultaneously, okay. So these are all the important articles for today from my point of view. I hope you find these videos productive and also to direct you towards certain things. For example, we have also discussed the Hindenburg research today, but we have also come up with various reports, various discussions, various videos about other important topics. For example, we have also covered the topics of budget and economic session on this channel. You can watch those videos where they are very productive from an examination point of view, okay. Similar daily update videos will keep coming on and you can keep following them. You can also follow us on our Instagram channel at CLAT Possible, as well as you can also join our Telegram channel at CLAT Possible, where we also post lot of updates regarding current news, we post a lot of practice questions with regarding critical reasoning, GK, be it logical reasoning. Okay, so to basically ease your preparation, we have come up with these sources you can follow. Okay, and we will have a special announcement for you with regards to your current affairs preparation. For that, please stay tuned, and thank you for attending today's session.